Welcome everyone to Let's Start a Business. My name is Bob Jones. I'm a consultant for the South Carolina Small Business Development Center, and my office is in Columbia. So first of all, let's talk about what the SBDC does. We are a no-cost confidential counseling service to small businesses, and we have 21 offices in South Carolina, and we cover the entire state. We do business plan assistance for either startups or for existing businesses. We offer assistance with financial, marketing, organizational, engineering, manufacturing, and government contracting. And as we're doing now, we also offer training workshops and webinars. So the first question you should ask yourself is owning a business the right choice for you? And these are some of the things that makes a good entrepreneur. And a colleague of mine once said, a startup is not a job, it is a lifestyle. And sometimes that lifestyle can last for several years. So you need to be prepared for that. So first of all, are you a self-starter? Do you do well at planning and organizing? Can you make decisions? It also takes a lot of energy and stamina to push yourself on some of the days when you're struggling with the business. You need to assume full responsibility, and there is a lot of risk in starting a business. The majority of small businesses do not make it. And then you will also need to have support of your family or other people. First, we want to start with market research. And these are some key questions to ask yourself and to get answers before you even get started. You have a product or service, who's going to buy it? And the other key thing is describe what a typical customer looks like. And that's important for you as you go through the demographics of your customer base. Then take a look at who the local competitors are, if you have any. And sometimes it's good to go and visit these local competitors just to see how they run their business. And then also, do you have competitors elsewhere geographically if you're that type of business? Is there a current demand for your product or service? And what is the trend in the demand? Is it going up? Is it going down? Or is it just staying sideways? So the first thing you need to do after you do your marketing research is to develop a marketing plan. And in the marketing plan, you're going to identify what your purpose is and what is your why. Again, it's really key what is or are the products you're selling. And then building a website by itself isn't a good solution, because how do the customers even know you have a website? So you need to figure out how customers will find you. Pricing strategy is also a very key thing. You do not want to be the low price producer. If anything, you should be at that higher end, because you're going to offer a different type of service than typical businesses or your competition. Who are your suppliers? Can you negotiate deals with suppliers to get lower costs? You should be purchasing things. If you're going to resell, you should be purchasing them at wholesale so that you aren't paying sales tax on it twice. And the other thing is, what is your selling strategy? Are you going to sell online? You're going to have a storefront? Is yours a service-oriented business? So these are key things to identify as you develop a marketing plan. The next thing is, how will you fund your company? Can you self-fund it? That's your equity. Or do you need to find investors? Typically, a bank, if you go to a bank, is going to want maybe 20% down. So you're going to need at least a way to come up with 20% of the total investment. And that is borrow money, and not all banks will lend to startup businesses. So, and you should never count on grants to start a business. Grants are tough, even if you're in business, but there are no reasonable startup grants. And then your credit is also very key. And your credit score. So let's talk a little bit about credit. As a startup business, your personal credit will count the most because you have no history of the business you're starting. You can get free credit reports if you don't have a way to get a credit report with these two websites. Most banks will also let you know immediately what your credit score is, and there's other ways to get it as well. So what are the 5 C's of business credit? The capital equity, how much do you have invested? Again, if you're going to get a loan, you're probably going to need to invest at least 20%. The other thing they look banks look at is your capacity. What's your ability to pay the money back? They will also look at your collateral. If you have collateral for the property, that can be used to help secure a loan. And then looking at the way the loan gets repaid. And the bottom line is, how confident is the lender in the ongoing success of your business so that they get their money back? But one of the things you need to do early is choose a business structure. Sole proprietor does not protect you from any lawsuits or liabilities. An LLC is a limited liability company or a limited liability partnership, and that does have some protection against your personal assets. S corporations are also very popular and allows you to bring in outside investors with stock. And C corporations are what most people think of when they think of companies. They're the big guys. But the last two does require an attorney to help set up the corporation. Business name is also critical. Although I always think back to Apple Computer, who would name their computer company Apple? So even though the business name can be important depending on the type of product you have, there's a lot of business names out there that really don't make sense. And the first thing you do is you check the name availability. You go to this website, www.secretaryofstate.southcarolina.gov. And then you can also trademark your business or your name with this website, uspto.gov. And then the other thing to look at is, does the name make sense on the web? And is the URL available? But the bottom line is, once you've got a name picked out, register your name with the South Carolina Secretary of State. That's the sos.sc.gov. The next thing you do after you get a name and registration is you get your EIN. And you can go to this scbos.sc.gov, which stands for South Carolina Business One Stop.sc.gov, to help you walk through starting a business. Now, the Secretary of State or registering your business is a fee anywhere from $110 to $140. When you get your EIN through the federal government, it is free. Just make sure you go to a .irs.gov website. Then once you have your business name, your registration with the state, and your EIN, then you can go and open a business checking account. And you should ask for either a business debit card, which you can use for online purchases, or better yet, ask for a business credit card, and then just make sure you pay it off each month. And this, by having a business credit card, it'll help you with manage your cash flow much easier. Again, the scbos.sc.gov website is where to go to learn how to start your business. If you have any questions, you can always get back to us, and we'll help you as much as we can. So there's other things depending on the type of business you have. You may need to get approval from your local planning and zoning board. May need a certificate of occupancy. Columbia and Richland County require business licenses. Not all counties do, not all cities do. So you need to check with your current city or county. If you're going to sell anything retail, then you're going to need a sales tax license, and that's through the Department of Revenue. Food handling certifications go through DHEC, or it's got a new name right now, which escapes me. If you're a professional, then you need to have other licenses as well. So just make sure that depending on your business, that you have all the licenses you need. So what's the game plan? Are you going to do it online? Are you going to be in your house selling things? You're going to have a retail store. You're going to have a service business. So that needs to be understood up front. And then if you plan to finance the startup with your own money, you may want to scale down your formal business plan, marketing plan, and cash flow plan to put together the right business plan. But the marketing plan and the cash flow plan are key documents regardless. And then if you're going after investors, or you're going to go after a large sum of money, then you must develop a very extensive business plan. Could be up to 50 pages. So the game plan is the business plan. It's important to organize your thoughts. Now, I've done this several times. I would have a pad, a pencil, and a piece of paper beside me at all times, even when I was in bed. And if I had a thought, I would write it down. You can always organize it later. But anytime you have a thought, an article that you think is applicable to your business, write it down, keep it, make copies of it, and then you can always go back and review that. Now, most businesses start out, even with an LLC, you're the sole owner. So what does that mean from an organization point? It means that you are the organization chart. You make all the decisions. You're the CEO, the COO, the CFO, the CTO, and the HR person. But it's also very key for you to understand where your talent gaps are. And this is done usually through outsourcing through third parties. So knowing what you don't know is extremely important in starting a business. And there are times when you can form some strategic alliances also to help you with your business. Well, should I speak to an attorney? And that, again, depends on the type of business you're in, what type of corporation or company you're setting up. The key thing, and like if you're doing leases, you should always have an attorney review that, any contracts. And again, if you're incorporating as a Chapter S or a Chapter C, you should need an attorney. Setting up any partnership agreements between you and your partners, it's always good to have an attorney review that. And certainly purchasing real estate requires an attorney. As I said before, a bank will usually look for you to infuse 15 to 25% in your business to get a loan. So if you want $100,000 loan, you'll need at least $20,000 of your own money. They also want a personal financial statement and 2 or 3 years, usually 3, of personal tax returns for each owner. And an owner in this case is anyone who owns 20% or more of the business. And then they will want a business plan with 3 years of projected financial data. And this is an area where we can help you put together that business plan, the projected financial information. And we do that with almost all startups and existing businesses when they want additional financing. So what are some of the fundamentals? You need to understand what the finances are. Even if you have an accountant or someone else doing it, you need to know what's going on in your business. And we have, you can use different types of systems. If it's a simple business, just an Excel spreadsheet can work, and we can help you with that. Many sole owners use QuickBooks software. There's another one just out called Wave, and these are very good products to help you manage your business. Then if you decide to hire people, you're going to have a lot of additional requirements, and this is another area where we can help you. Again, back to making retail sales, then you will need that sales tax license, and you have to give that information to the state every month. Even if you have no sales, you still have to do it every month. So don't get a sales tax license until you need it. There's other ways to do e-commerce business, set up a PayPal account. You can do, there's many different types of online retail, Shopify, Amazon. And at the end of the year, you should have a CPA review what you've got for your annual taxes. Make sure you're not misstating things and making sure that you're taking advantage of all the tax credits you can.
Is there a cost difference in LLC versus S Corp?
Well, the biggest difference would be that you need to hire a lawyer. So yeah, it's probably going to cost you somewhere between $500 and $1,000 to get the lawyer. So
and that's for an S Corp?
Yes. Because, well, I've done one S Corp, and it seemed to me like that's what I paid, but that was a few years back. So things may have changed.
And is the lawyer a one-time fee?
Yes.
So yes, you would retain them just to do the S Corp, where
Yes.
The LLC, you would be able to do that yourself online with the South Carolina Secretary of State. And it costs approximately $145, is it, Bob?
It's in that range. It's under 150.
And your SBDC consultant can help you walk through the LLC online process.
Correct. It usually takes about 15 minutes to do it. And they ask for your name 4 different times. So just make sure you just put in your name and your address every time. I wish they had an autofill feature, but we don't have one yet.
This is Sarah. I have a quick question along those same lines. Why are so many organizations like incorporated in Delaware? As
Well,
opposed
those are usually C corps, and the reason is Delaware has, what I've been told is Delaware has more litigation and ease of use and ease of understanding C corps. So they do it mainly, and it might be a little cheaper too. They do it for, I think it's a little cheaper, but they do it so that they know what all the rules are. The rules have been litigated. At least that's what I've been told.
So if you do an LLC in South Carolina, you can do business in any state or only the state of South Carolina?
Any state.
Perfect. Thank you.
You bet.
So here's some more questions. Sounds like a CPA is a better option than using a standard tax preparer. Is that correct? I can answer that. Absolutely. A tax preparer only does your annual taxes. Where a business accountant or a business bookkeeper is going to help you throughout the year, understanding your business, and then help you apply for taxes or file your taxes. Would that be correct, Bob?
That's correct. And also a CPA can help you understand other tax deductions that you might be able to use, because the tax laws change every year and they're usually on top of everything. For example, you used to be able to subtract 50% or 100% of your food that you were purchasing when you were on business, and now it's 50%. So that you just need to make sure you're on top of all the tax laws, and the only one that I know of that can do that's your CPA.
So the next one is, can I apply for retail sales tax license with an out-of-state LLC that has permission to operate in South Carolina? So you have what is the term, a foreign entity?
Foreign entity.
So if you have a foreign entity, which allows you to do business in South Carolina, then you would apply for a retail sales tax with the South Carolina Department of Revenue and use that foreign entity.
Yep, because you're going to be selling in South Carolina, is that the reason?
That's what I'm understanding the question to be.
Okay. Yeah, if you're selling in South Carolina, you will need a South Carolina sales tax license, and you may need a city and county sales tax license too. The advantage of some of these, like an Amazon or a Shopify, they figure all those taxes out for you, so you don't have to do it.
So here's a good one, Bob. Does the business plan pages matter in the asking loan amount? Meaning if I'm asking for 15K down, could I use a 3-page simple business plan summarized with the key points, or do I need the full plan, 12 to 15 pages?
Well, it depends on the bank and the lender. 3 might be a little lean, but you certainly wouldn't need to be over 10, I wouldn't think. We have something we call a lean business plan template, and you might be able to even use that, which is only it's a 1-pager, but it ends up being with finances and everything, it probably ends up being about 5 pages. So that might be good enough for a small loan.
Here's another one, Bob. If I had a business EIN registered in the state of Colorado that never really started and now moved and plan to really get it started, do I need to end the business in Colorado first or transfer?
Well, I would end it. Because the EIN doesn't cost any money and it's a little bit of a complicated process. I've had people do that. And it seems like it takes 3 times as long as it should, where you could actually do it in 15 minutes online.
Okay, I have filed taxes with a tax preparer, but she also filed my business startup with my personal taxes. Do I need to separate these taxes? And do I need to, so that stopped.
Well, she's probably
So-
doing that. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was just saying, oh, do I need to file my business before January 2025? So business taxes are separate from personal, correct?
Correct, but you can file them together with this, it's called a Schedule C on your personal taxes. So that, a lot of people do that when they're small. But if you're an S corp, you can't do that. You can if you're an LLC. In fact, you can only do that if you're a single member LLC.
So here's a very good question. Which is better, a traditional bank or credit union to apply for a startup loan?
Whoever you have a relationship with, I would go to them.
And it's also a lender that has a strong business support department. So a lot of credit unions don't have a business department where you can speak to someone strictly about your business versus personal. They will, of course, allow you to open a bank account in a business name, but they may not have a good support department for lending and such. And most traditional banks, which you're mentioning, are not funding startup loans. So you may even want to look at a non-traditional lender.
And we have access, we have names for you, if that's the approach you want to take. We have some lenders that we work with.
And it also depends on the amount of the loan, doesn't it, Bob?
Absolutely. If it's under $100,000, banks generally aren't interested. It's too little for them to mess with. And many startup loans, you only need 10 to 50,000. So in all of those, we call micro lenders, small loan lenders, and we have several that we can refer you to.
So here's another, is there a new law to file your business before January 2025 if it was filed before January 2024?
So ask that question one more time.
Is there a new law to file your business before January 2025 if it was filed before January 2024?
Yes, it's called the BOI, Basic Owner Information. No, that's not. Doesn't stand basic. It's beneficial owner information. Yes, and it takes it, and I just did that. My daughter has 2 LLCs, and we just did that for her. Takes about 15 minutes to do it, but the way to go is to BOI, the basic owner information. It's on FinCEN Financial Center, FINCEN. So if you go to that website, you can apply online, and it's free. There's no cost. Don't let anyone do it for you because they will charge you. It's pretty simple just to do it online.
Are there some well-known banks for business loans here in South Carolina? Well, it depends if it's a startup or a growth loan.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand that question.
I don't either. Do you have to be in business for a certain amount of time before you can apply for a micro loan?
No, you can apply for it on startup.
Yeah, I was going to say many startups are actually micro loans.
Correct. But you're still gonna need a down payment of some type. So you're gonna have to have what they call skin in the game. You're gonna have to have some of your own money in that business.
And either, taxes and bank statements or financial projections.
Both. You'll need previous 2 years of bank statement or tax statements, probably 3 months of bank statements, and you may have to do a personal financial sheet, which basically is your own sheet on what you own and what you owe. Basically a personal balance sheet. And if you're delinquent, I'll just bring this in as a caveat. If you're delinquent on any taxes, you will not get a loan. You need to get up to date on all your taxes.
Does this apply for a nonprofit as well? So the Small Business Development Center in general does not work with nonprofits. So we're not familiar with the nonprofit, filing the taxes or loans or any of those things. Are you familiar with the nonprofit side, Bob?
No, not at all. I know there's a lot. The only thing I've done is I've talked to people who've done nonprofits, and they say there's a lot more paperwork.
Well, and you have to have a board and all
Yeah,
these other things.
Yeah, it's almost like running a corporation.